Hey everyone, in this video we'll be reviewing New Era 2 Premium Medium Tank T-55AM2B. The tank is essentially free if you can finish this season. You do have to buy the basic season pass for Overlord season for 2000 gold, but you get 200 or 2000 plus gold back in return, and hence I say it is essentially free, especially if you can finish the season. So let's get started with the setup I'm using, and along the way we'll determine whether the tank is balanced or broken. For equipment, I'm using advanced loader, gun stabilizer, and enhanced missile warning system. Using 3 large consumables, repair kit, med kit, and ration, along with camo paint. For crew skills, I'm using bond leader, rapid loading, snapshot, 6 sense, armor angling, controlled impact, track mechanic, steady aim, and run and gun. So we already have a Tech 3 tank, T-55AM Merida, and this is a premium version. We have a lot of tanks that are similar to this tank. It isn't really unique in a lot of ways, but the tank is free, so the only time to get this tank is now, if you know you can finish the season. So let's look at the armor. Of course, the most armored component is the lock, 220 meters. The turret in front is 200, so you should be able to pen 180 and then 170, 160. Different armor plates. Hatches is 130. Upper plate 100 so is the lower plate. However, you have a spaced armor. Sides are 80 You have spaced armor on the cheeks as well of 71 Rear is 65. Rear armor is 45. Then you have additional upper plate of 30 So the tank bounds actually a little more than I expected it to, but still not enough because there are missiles that pens you. Your turret get penned more easily than the hull actually. And then you have 10 of side skirts. As I said, it is similar to the other T-55M or T-54D or any tank that has 5 degrees of gun depression that is a top tier era 2. It fires premium APCR, but it also has ATGMS, the third shell. Overall, a solid tank, but you won't get too many high damage game with this tank, and we'll discuss that shortly as well. Looking at the module wears, you have engine in the back, fuel tank in the front. Try to be as held down as possible. With most of the time, it is not, especially when you're spotted, because you only have 5 degrees of gun depression. Ammo rack on the right side and the right turret. And for crew members, 3 in the turret and 1 in the hull. And when we saw the armor, right? So if you're not hitting, if you're hitting like the not the spaced armor of the turret, you can pen the tank. And of course, you can even pen the upper plate if you have enough premium pen. But you do get some bounces if they're using standard shells, especially. And then the autocannon doesn't pen you either, even the 30B2 autocannon frontly. Now looking at the stats, this is of course after the crucial and equipment I'm using. So 50 forward goes 55, a little slower for era 2. Reverse 21, power to weight 15. Hit points 2700. It is a top tier tank, but I would expect I would prefer if the hit points are around 2800. Terrain resistance of 1.4, 0.6.5, and hull rotation 48 degrees. Concealment still 351 and moving 384 and view range 575. Turret rotation speed of 39. Gun depression 5 degrees, elevation 15. And reload time of 5.4 seconds. It does have slightly better DPM than the T-54AM Merida. Accuracy 0.323. I'm going with all accuracy perk. I actually use my heavy tank crew. There's no camo, as you see in my setup. Basically looking for all gun handling perks as well as survivability, along with the enhanced missile warning system, because I'm tired. I'm scared of missiles in era 2. So I've changed my build from camo to just super accurate gun handling as well as the missile warning system. It is a single shot, 1.84 aim time, 55 shell capacity. Shell 1 and 2 are AP FSDS, and shell type 3 is ATGM. DPM 4827. After the setup, standard pen 389. Standard pen is enough to pen most tanks as well, especially if you're hitting the weak spots. If you really need to, you can of course load the premium APCR, which is also solid, 500, and then the 850 of pen with the ATGM. Alpha is 440 for the first two shells and 980 for ATGMs. Module damage 145, 180, and 490 with the ATGM. Shell speed is better with the standard shell by 30 meter per second, so 1430. Premium goes for 1400 and the ATGM is 300. Back range of 2500 for the first two, then 5000. I don't even know if you have any map where we require 5000. I guess ATGM does go outside of the map. Sometimes we see them. Minimum arming distance for ATGM, 25%. You get the 25% damage if you are under the 100 meters. And then your penetration is 75% penetration penalty. Or that's what your penetration is. Silver run rate of 60%. Premium vehicle rate 15%. Then 10% commander XP rate. Whether the tank is balanced or broken, well, the tank is balanced and, to be honest, a little underpowered like any other tank that has 5 degrees of gun depression. And why do I say that? Well, it's balanced, it's good for the health of the game, but the thing is there are so many tanks with auto cannons, with missiles, that I would be doing, decent throughout the game, and then I would lose my health immediately. I can't protect myself when I'm getting YOLO'd by a light tank that has missiles and auto cannons. Or if I'm getting shot by mediums that have single shot and autocannon, they can just come around me and kill me. So the tank does good early game and mid game, but towards the end of the game, I just die. I go from full health to 0 immediately. So I don't think the tank needs a buff. Maybe a little DPF buff. I was thinking the mediums that are single shot, right? Could be similar to the Era 3 Osario, where you have solid DPM even though you're single shot and doesn't have a secondary weapon. But I think we have to be kind of careful with that, right? I don't think it's going to get buffed. It does have the better DPM than T-55AM. But I do feel very vulnerable when it's one-on-one against light tank with dual weapons or a medium. And of course, I am a medium tank, so I don't have the greatest armor or alpha either. So do struggle towards the end of the game. And a lot of times I'll be like full health doing decent, and as I said, right, I'll just die. So good for the health of the game, but plays like any other tank that has 5 degrees of gun depression. It does have the ATGM though, however you can only load 6. ATGM does have decent alpha of 980 and penetration, so if you can make those work. For me, I play mainly on the primary shell or secondary. It's more easy for me to use ATGM if they are the secondary weapon. In this it is a primary, right? So when you're loading the ATGM, you're not really using your first shell, which means you might miss out opportunity of penning them. Like a tank would have been stronger if the secondary weapon is ATGM, but in this case, it's not as strong as you might think with the ATGMs, because that's I would do like the same amount of damage firing single shot, or the APFSDS, because I limit my exposure time first of all, right? The shell gets there quicker, less chance of missing, and more often than not, I will do like more damage with the APFSDS than trying to find targets with the ATGMs, while also wasting my, I guess, opportunities of not because I have the ATGM loaded and I don't have the APCR. So hence the tank would have been really good if it's a secondary weapon, but again, we don't want all the tanks to have secondary weapon as missiles, then they're kind of broken. And that's the reason, right? Like it's balanced, but the balanced tanks in Era 2 aren't the most enjoyable when you get rushed. So let's see how this tank performs in the battlefield. I do have 2 replays with the tank. For the first replay, I'm in Live Oaks. We got the B9 spawn. So just going towards the sniper ridge. And that's what this tank is good at. It does have decent DPM as well as decent standard and premium APCR. Well, the standard APCR is not as good as Leopard, but it does have some turret armor as well as hull, so which makes sense. But then you have the premium as well. But to be honest, you don't even need premium, because most of the time you see a lot of medium tanks and the light tanks. You don't even see that many heavy tanks. So you don't need the premium shells, or need to fire the premium shells, because the tank you're shooting at, they don't really have armor. So you're either missing them or you're hitting those angles but it's an auto ricochet. As you see, already penned 2 shots. I have the sight of them. They're just crossing an opening going towards the city. So just making sure my gun is in the game and I'm helping my team as much as possible without taking too much damage in return. The team is going wild. We're already down 2 tanks. There's the rockets coming from the monster jagger. Like, I'm so scared of the missiles that I had to put the third equipment as the warning system, and unfortunately it doesn't work against rockets, which is kind of sad. But I wish they did, so I have that extra warning, right? Because I'm wasting an entire slot. Losing my 3 tanks as well as 10% HP. However, trying to, still do damage safely, trying not to expose my tank that much. And as I was saying, the hull does bounce a little bit more shots than I expected. I don't fully understand the armor model of Cold War tanks, especially when they have multiple layers or they have reactive armor or composite armor, because we don't have a site like tanks.gg, right, where you can see the World War II armor. So like, I never rely on armor of a medium tanks because they are medium and or enemy will pen you. But in this case, I am bouncing shots front, and even when this is bad. Yeah, and it was an epic fail from him. He could have clipped me if he just stood stationary, but he could have died either. So glad I'm not getting easily penned by these autocannons. Meanwhile, M60A1 trying to shoot me. He's not the greatest marksmanship that is missing. So I don't know if it's just my tank that I have that extra hull armor, or if it's the opponents I'm fighting, they're using standard shell or their stock guns. But it did bounce more shells than I expect this tank to be. Because what happens with this 5 degrees of gun depression tanks is you end up exposing more of your tank to get shots, and then you get shot in return. So if someone's aiming well, or if they're shooting premium APCR, they will pen you. And as you notice, right, throughout the battle, like, I didn't stop firing. I'm doing as much as I can. I haven't really made any mistake either. I'm still like 66% healthy. My health is 66% remaining. 6,000 damage. Our team is losing by 5 tanks, and this is the position I hate to be in. Now I'm in a cross. Our team is pushing the other side, trying to back up so I can survive. However, I do need some help. My team is just running away, and now I'm gonna be in a situation which happens every time. I just get jumped by tanks that are autocannon or 2 tanks, and I am dead. 7,300 damage, and I don't think I made any mistake. And that's the thing, like, you won't have many high damage game in these sort of single shot tanks because it doesn't have the end game potential to carry the game. In hindsight, I could have used missiles for my first shot, but they were crossing. I don't know how much opening they had, and I'm not the greatest to shoot missiles either. I have tried. I mean, of course, the missiles are solid with the penetration and alpha, so you should like try them more. But I just play better when I'm just firing the AP FSDS. So the second game in Dragon Ridge, it is more like a fun game. And by the way, if you're not in regiments, you do have to remember that now regiments are live. You get additional rewards for being in a regiment, and then even you earn regi coins, and you can earn more coins if you're playing with a platoon mate who is in your regiment. So now there's a reason to be in a regiment. This is essentially Clans 2.0. So if you're not in a regiment already, you are missing out. And if you don't know which regiment to join, check out our community, regiment_Loki, link in description as well as pinned in the comment, so you don't miss out on free rewards. Coming back to this battle, I'm trying to go in the middle, see if I have some shots towards the side. Usually I have a camo crew, but now I started or stopped using the camo crew. I'm just going for all gun handling so I don't miss any shots. Because most of the time, even if I do have camo, I do get spotted with those proxy tanks and I can't really spot them. And if you look at the mini-map, the circle of me getting detected and view range, right, that circle basically is applicable to light tanks. I'm still gonna outspot the heavy or maybe most mediums. So if you play in a way where you're not exposed to light tanks, you'll still be fine with the camo because you have a decent concealment as this tank being a medium tank. In the past I used to run advanced concealment equipment, but kept getting missiled. The true vision, the curse of true vision. So I gave up on that and just equipped ATGM warning system on all my tanks, especially Era 2, because that's where the most ATGMs are. In Era 3 there's not so much, there are only few tanks, and people stopped playing those tanks like Weasel after the changes of minimum arming distance were implemented. As I said, this is more like a fun game. I can't really push anyone, I'm not in a position to snipe, so I came to this little climb, and I was hoping if I'm here and they try to push me, our team will punish them. At the same time, I'm kind of expecting too much from my team. So just waiting here. Lucky for me, they don't know how to make this climb, and they do think that my team has my support, but they have my back. Rocket Jag Panther, he tries to jump me, but even if he does, right, even if he pens me, it won't do much damage because thankfully minimum arming distance. Love that change, beautiful. Now we have two tanks on the bottom. This Leopard finally figured out a way how to make the climb. We have, I guess I have slightly more HP, but keeping my composure, not panicking, just trading 1v1 with the Leopard and hoping to out DPM him. And lucky for me, he got Amorak, which means I can now finish him with a little bit of extra health remaining. He is running away. Where are you going, Leopard? I thought you were gonna kill me, huh? No one can touch the mountain goat. No one. Leopard coming in to get one more shot. But as I said, no one is safe from the mountain goat. This is my throne, and no one can sit on it. Still waiting. This Rocket Jag Panther is thinking about it. He's thinking about it. He saw what Leopard did and he's like, now my tank is one shot. Maybe he can pen me. Maybe he's trying to proxy me. There is some sort of planning going on in his head. And there's the heavy tank coming in. He missed the shot. I know I have enough rate of fire to pen him twice by the time he pen me once. There is a light tank behind me, and he bounced. The heavy bounce and this BMP2. That's what I was talking about. Like, my tank, or any single shot tank, has a rough time facing these tanks that have secondary weapons. He shot autocannon. Luckily for me, he bounced. The armor working, especially against these tanks that doesn't have too much pen. And this tank destroyer also jumping on top of me. He thought he could take me out because I'm busy with the light tank. Another bounce from the heavy. So I don't know what that guy is shooting. Like, this armor isn't that good. But that heavy tank, I would say definitely better, but not the best shots. BMP also missed the missile. I took him out. And then the T-80. It was very interesting. You might call it paid actors. They look like bots, but they aren't. But in this engagement, there's only one winner. T-55AM2B, or the Mountain Goat. The Rocket Jak Panther is back for round 2, but he's not gonna jump now. And it's good position, kind of worked well for me. I do manage to do decent damage. But at this point, we're winning by a huge margin. So I decided to be aggressive and push this TD, because even if he pens me, I'll only take 200 damage. However, I ignored the TD on the left side and got missile. And that's my story, you know. I just get missile all the time with the ELT or Bagel or auto cannon. And that's why I think the tank is good for that, to health, but it is just rough to play this tank. Do let me know in comments if you're looking forward to this tank and what do you think about the season. And that's it for this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.